Today's episode of DRL is brought to you by Hella Cocktail Company. My guests don't just come to DRL for me. They also come for the cocktails. Luckily, my friends at Hella Cocktail Company have my back. These guys make amazing mixes, from Bloody Mary to Margarita to Moscow Mule. They also make cocktail bitters, my secret ingredient, and now yours too. It's easy to feel like the best bartender in town when every bottle comes with a simple recipe on it. Hella Cocktail Company, bold flavor, real ingredients, hospitality. Mixing it up since 2011. Shop the collection on Amazon Prime or use code DRL online at hellacocktail.co for free shipping. Hello, my lovely listeners. Welcome back to another episode of DRL, where we're talking everything dating, relationships, and love. I'm your host, Tanisha Wood. I had this conversation that's still cracking me up today. So this girl said that, you know, the word fruition, like something that comes into fruition. She said, I just feel like I've been working so hard and I can't wait for everything to come into fruition. And I said, it's not fruition, it's actually fruition. And I wasn't trying to be like, let me just correct you. I was really like, I need for people to know the right thing so that next time they might be in front of somebody else who might judge them harshly because of that. So I was just trying to help her out. So I was like, oh, it's actually fruition. Like something comes into fruition. She's like, no, like it's fruitful. So it's fruitation. Like it comes into fruitation. And she went back and forth with me. And I was just like, you know what? After a while, I was like, whether you want a fruition or a fruitation, that's completely up to you. So I tried. So point of the story being, sometimes you just got to let stuff go if it doesn't concern you. Don't get all riled up. Don't get all mad. Because I really did catch myself being like, okay, let's Google. And she's like, we don't need to Google because it's fruitation. And I was like, okay, whatever. Welcome, my guest. Hi, Travis.
How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, actually.
Yeah? That's good. That was the calmest I'm excellent I've ever heard. You're like, I'm excellent.
I think that's what excellent is. It should be
like a calm.
Yeah, it should be calm.
Okay. So where are you from?
Alabama.
Mama Louisiana. Daddy Alabama.
No.
How long have you been in Dallas?
About 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old are you?
29.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're about to hit the big 3-0.
Yeah.
When's your birthday?
In October. So it's like a bittersweet kind of deal. So it's like I feel blessed to hit it, but at the same time, I'm leaving the 20s. So I'm like, and I'm grown now.
Oh yeah,
you know?
This is the real deal.
Yeah, free trial is over.
So how has dating been here for you?
Interesting. So Dallas women are unique.
In what way?
In a good way. But also in a you don't really know what you are about to get kind of way. So it's like you can't really paint them with like a broad stroke because they're all different. So how I might approach one woman is not going to work.
That's just not women in Dallas. That's women everywhere. Every woman is different.
Well, I'm just saying
There's no one size fits all approach.
I'm saying like in some places you go. Well, I'm from Alabama, so it's smaller. So like a lot of people know each other, right? So you kind of know what you're getting into. But out here, it's a little bit more diverse. It's not just black, it's not just white. You have like Latino, you have Asian, Arabic, like all sorts of different ethnicities. So you kind of have to be a well-versed kind of guy.
So what is your general approach?
My general approach is, I would say, kind of more of like the shy guy type, because I am, but at the same time, it's more so of I want to know what you like. So if I just walk by you, I'm probably not going to say anything, right? So I want to see what you do. I want to see like what are you wearing? Like what can I?
So you observe first,
right.
Then after you observe, do you approach?
Sometimes,
not all the time.
Not all the time. No.
Why not?
I don't know. It's like by the time I work up the nerve to actually do it, she already left. It's like reason number 13 why I'm single.
So what are you like? What's going through your head So you walk by,
Right.
you see a girl you might be interested in, you're observing her, you're sort of working up the nerve. What's going on in your head during that time that you're working up the nerve? Like, what are you thinking?
What to say? Number one, it's weird. Like, once I get in conversation with you, I can just toss out lines like that, right? But actually approaching you, I have no idea what to say. Because I think it's more of a fear of, okay, well, what if she isn't into me?
So you have a fear of rejection.
Yeah, I don't like losing, right? So I want to try and limit those L's.
But if you don't try for something, theoretically, haven't you already lost?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say to say that. I would probably say I probably missed out on a few women. Like, there were a few women that I knew, and like months or like maybe a year later, I would talk to them and they say, "I was so
a year."
Well, like in passing, like it might be somebody that I knew like from school, like from a while back, or like from high school, like college, whatever, that I see later, right? So it's kind of like they'll say, "Oh, I was so into you, but you never said anything, or you didn't really seem interested." And I'm like, what?
Travis, you can't go into your 30s like that. You have to approach every opportunity. And I don't even mean just women. I mean period. Like, you can't let stuff pass you by.
I agree. And I would say after my last couple of relationships, that is truly in the past. I feel like now it's more so of take it for what it is, right? So if it doesn't work, that's fine.
Right.
You know, move on to the next thing. But in the past, it was more so of, I think I kind of maybe over sensationalized the idea of being with this person, right? So if it doesn't work, now what, right? So now I'm at the point of, okay, well, it didn't work. What can I learn from this? Like, what kind of person did I become in this, right?
Right.
So for me, moving forward is more so of, I'm not really looking for like potentially who you can be or even expecting you to be whatever. I want to like you for you.
Right.
That's it. And I want you to like me for me. Like, good, bad, whatever it might be. Like, that's it. You know?
So you're saying that in the past, you would sort of idealize somebody and think about how things could be and what might happen versus actually being there and seeing it play out.
It was more so of, I was trying to give her something that she never asked for, that I thought she wanted.
Is this a particular she?
Oh yeah.
Okay, who's the she?
Let's call it Karen.
Karen?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Tell us about Karen.
We actually met on Tinder.
That's where everybody meets.
Yeah.
Is there any other way to meet now?
Yeah, we actually met on Tinder. So
did you reach out to her on Tinder? Like, did you send the first message or did she? And how was your approach?
I sent the first message.
What did you say?
Well, in her bio, she said she was a feminist, right? Like an intersectional feminist. And I knew what a feminist was, but I didn't know what like an intersectional feminist was.
Can you educate me? I don't know what an intersectional feminist is.
I still don't know. I still don't know.
You know what? Let's get educated real quick.
Educated.
Now I just feel like I need to know. So let's just look this up real quick. What is an intersectional feminist?
Yeah.
There's just all these terms like
That was the only thing
See,
in the bio. Like, that was it, right?
this is like fruitation. Like, next time I encounter somebody that says this, like intersectional feminist, I want to know what that is, so I don't run around talking about fruitation. All the fruitations of my labor are coming. Like, let's see, intersectional feminist.
Is anything popping up yet?
Okay, the term intersectionality was coined by Black scholar Kimberly Crenshaw in 1989. Intersectionality represents an analytic framework that attempts to identify how interlocking systems of power impact those who are most marginalized in society. So basically, from what I understand, it's saying I'm not just a feminist as in women or like women's rights, but how do all pieces of marginalized people come into that? So including people who have a disability or sexual orientation is different or race or so. Okay, that makes sense. I get it. Look at that. We don't learn. Took everybody to school today.
Yeah. So
she said she was an intersectional feminist in her bio.
Right. And her pictures kind of told a story too. So I really try to pay attention to that. You know?
Did you pick and plan the first date?
I did.
Okay, good.
I did. So I picked Jamaican Gates because she said she liked like the Caribbean kind of like food, like seafood, stuff like that. And it was great. Had a good time. She enjoyed the food. I enjoyed the food too. Had a couple drinks. We were there probably like an hour. So we said our goodbyes, and she was interested in me coming with her to a Halloween party the following day.
Okay, this is nice. I like immediate plans and immediate dates.
Yes, because now I feel like, okay,
she's into me. Yeah.
Like, okay, so now she invited me somewhere like where her friends would be, and I'm like, oh, this. Like, I just met you, you know what I'm saying? So
did you feel a big connection or spark during the date?
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I like natural feelings, right? So I've been on dates where it felt like
forced.
Yeah, like I have to say something, and then she had to say something.
Right. It just flowed.
Yeah, or it's like, you're not really talking about anything, like, at all. I'm not really getting to know you. You're not really getting to know me. We're just kind of...
We're talking about the Cowboys and the weather.
Yeah, we're just passing the time, you know? You enjoying the free meal? I mean... I mean, that's just what it is. Like, this one was different. It was great. So the next day, we go to the Halloween party. So I went, and everything was cool. Everything was great. And she, like, randomly, like, was like, come here, you know? And then she was, like, kissing me, and I'm like... Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? So it was like a natural vibe. Mm-hmm. It was a good feeling. Everything was going right.
Okay, this is all sounding good so far. 3 dates in.
Yeah.
It's all flowing well.
So about a week or so passed, right? And she went to Houston, right? And
during this time, this week, are you guys in regular communication?
Yeah, texting, calling when you can, that sort of deal. So everything was cool. I would say it was normal, you know. Mm-hmm. And then the Houston trip, right? That's when it was like the first. You probably should have stopped here. So she gets down there and. She was texting me like, oh, crazy. Like, wild, crazy text.
Like what?
Like, very wild and crazy.
Like very suggestive, like, yeah, let's get this moving?
No, not even that much. More so of like in a sexual kind of.
Like she was sending you like
she was on
sending
it.
Some pics?
Oh, not pics, but the words were just as good.
So you felt like it came out of nowhere?
Definitely. Because at first I was kind of into it, right? Like if it was like just one or two, I would have been into it. I'm like, okay, I can get into. I can get into it. Nobody can complain about that. But then there was like a lot of them, and I was like, this is a little different. So I called, and she was kind of drunk, right? So I'm thinking, well, at this point, I need to protect you from you. Because when you sober up and go back and read what you sent, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if we just talk, then those words going to disappear, you know?
Right.
But when you text it, like, it's there. Like, you
ever sent a text and then the next morning you look at it and you're just like, oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make it stop. And then you delete the text on your end, but you know dang well it's still out there.
Yeah. They probably took screenshots and said, man, look at what this girl sent me, dog. You know? So it was like, I'm not that kind of guy. So I want to save you from you.
That's very sweet. That's very sweet.
Yeah, because I really like you. Mm-hmm. Like, if I didn't like her like that, I probably...
You would have took some screenshots.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I only liked her for, like, one reason, I would have let her continue until she got to the point where she was sending, like, pictures and videos and stuff. But I was like, I respect you more than that.
Right.
So it was like, I feel like I can get that in other ways. Like, I don't want to have to do it like this.
Right.
Because if I do it like this the first time, then it sets the standard for every time.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, that's not how it's going to be done. So I called, and she was still saying, like, some she was saying some things, I just put it like that. She was saying some things, and she was like, I'm really in the mood, and I'm like, well.
Had you guys had sex at this point?
No.
Okay.
So that's even more so. That's why I was like, I don't really know.
Right.
Like, I've never really been around you drunk like that. I don't know how many guys are around you, because some guys, they kind of take advantage of women in that position. They kind of, they prey on them. Right? So she was like, well, what if I do something with a girl? And I'm like, what? Because at that point,
was she asking permission, or like what exactly was she, like, what was her angle? Clearly you're not there.
Right.
You're in Dallas. She's in Houston, which is like, what, 3.5 hours?
Give or take.
So like what exactly was her aim or angle?
In hindsight, she wasn't asking for permission. But in the moment, she was like, well, if you're not okay with that, then I understand. I won't do nothing like that. So I'm like, no, I'm not. Okay.
So what are you saying to all this?
I was in shock. I mean, this is the first time anything like that ever came up. So I'm like, I'm trying to be understanding at the same. I don't want to come off as like, so I'm trying to like just process everything in the moment, because I only have like half a second to respond.
Is this, you guys are talking at this point?
Yes.
Okay, so she's telling you all this.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. So keep in mind, that day, I'm a huge Alabama football fan, all right? And they were playing LSU. It's a big game every year, right? So I was watching that game at this moment.
Do you see how like my eyes got glossed over and I was like, I don't know what that means.
It's a big college football game, basically.
Okay.
Right? So I was like, it kind of completely caught me off guard at that point, because my energy was into that. So now my energy is into this, and I'm like, whoa, like, what is this? So she said that, and I was like, I mean, I don't want you to do that. Like, that's not what I want you to do. And at the same time, like, I can't make you do anything or not do anything.
Right.
So if you were to do something, like, I wouldn't, I mean, I just got to take your word for it, right? So as far as I know, nothing happened.
So how did that night end in that phone call?
She went out that night. So it was just a bunch of like random texts here and there, Now,
after that phone call, after she gets off the phone, what are you thinking?
What the did I just get into? So it was like, okay, she said that. She did. But she asked me if it was cool, and I said no. And
so you ultimately did say no, you wouldn't be cool with it.
Yeah, and she seemed to respond to it in a way that I figured, okay, she's receptive to that. There was no pushback.
Right.
So I'm under the impression that's what it was. This was a weird thing she said, that was completely different. Like, we never talked about anything like that before. And I'm like, okay, like,
well,
this
it
is
only
different.
been 3 meetings before that, so it's like, I mean, I know you guys were flowing and the conversation was good, but chances are that it probably didn't get to a level like that where she's already telling you sexual fantasies. And so, yeah, I understand how that night it just kind of came out of nowhere.
This was no fantasy. This was that's just the start of that chapter. I would say like the next week or two, the vibe was different.
Were you guys still consistently like texting and talking, and had you seen each other since she came back?
Not as consistent. Or it was like the texts were a little bit longer in between, right?
Got it.
So at that point, I was a little confused of like, okay, well, what
now, happened? Did you address it at all once, like the next day or following that, once she was sober? Right. Did you say, hey, you had sent me some pretty suggestive text and, had some conversation around some things that I was a little bit surprised about. Is that something that you meant in that moment, or like, did you dig deeper into what all that was?
it took a little bit of time, but eventually, yeah, it went from, well, you know, is it okay if I do it this one night, to kind of out of nowhere again, well, it's this one girl I kind of.
So at this point, she gets back. Are you guys seeing each other? Like, are you together? Like, what's the status?
It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a lot more than just friends, but not wearing any titles.
And why? Why not? Were you just still in like getting to know you stage, or was it like a conscious decision not to have a title, or like what was the reasoning for not moving forward?
I would probably say a little bit of both. But the story was still unfolding to me. So it started to make more and more sense. So it was like, it went from that one time, maybe in Houston, to, well, it's just one girl I kind of talked to like a few weeks after that, to, well, I talked to her. And I'm like, okay, so this is...
So she's bisexual, essentially.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to be fair, she kind of did tell you.
She did.
She might not have said the words, I'm bisexual or I'm into women, but, I mean... She kind of told you. I mean, if I'm seeing a guy and he says, hey, just do you mind if like I maybe have sex with this guy? I'd be like, oh, so you're bisexual or gay? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, no shade on that, but I'm saying is I don't know where the story is going, but at this point, I don't feel like she hid anything.
I feel like...
Also because she told you.
The first time she said it, it was like, I'm thinking like maybe she's just drunk, right? And I don't know, something she thought about before. But then it became, okay, well, you talked to this other girl, right? And I'm like, it's nothing serious, I guess. Like, we're not in a relationship.
I respect the honesty.
We had a very honest thing going. It was almost too honest.
There is no such thing as too honest. I have to say, I commend and respect her honesty at this point.
I do too. I definitely appreciate it, because she could have did whatever she wanted to.
And not said anything.
Yeah, behind closed doors. And I think that's what made what we had so interesting. Was it was like, we kind of knew what each other was doing, you know? So I was a willful like participant. So it wasn't like she hid something from me and then like cheated and broke my heart. You know, it was like, you know, I kind of.
So a couple times now she's said, you know, I'm talking to this girl and this is happening. So where are you guys progressing in terms of you and her?
It's interesting because we spent almost every day with each other, right? And that's what made me kind of downplay the other side of it, because I'm like, we spend every day, most of the day together. Like, there's no way you spend time with somebody else, you know, because you're like right in front of me. I can see you, you know. So
you're real.
Yeah. So at like that point, I'm like, well, if you spending like 18 hours a day with me, just toss a number out, and like 2 hours with the other person, I'm clearly more important, you know. That's how I felt. Like that was like in my head, right? So like getting back on the expectations kind of thing, I kind of expected for the other person to just fade away over time, right? But in reality, I didn't realize what I was doing by making myself so accessible. I was making it worse for myself. So it was like, she knew I would be there whenever. But the other person was more, come when you can, right? So she was getting the best of both worlds, you know? So we went on a few more dates. I would say they were dates. She might say...
Well, you guys were seeing each other every day. It's more than like dates at this point.
That's what I'm thinking. But if you ask her, she'd be like, no, we was just hanging out like every day, going to hibachis and Maverick games and Dallas Cowboy games. I'm like, okay. But yeah, so we did all those things, right? And to me, it felt like everything was growing, right?
Like on an upward trajectory.
Yeah, but the longer we talked, the more and more the other person kind of came up, which was the opposite of what I thought was going to happen. You know, I'm like, okay, all right.
So when she starts saying things like, well, you know, now I can't think of a name. Alicia. Mm-hmm. Alicia said the funniest thing today. She is hilarious. Like, was it like in like a...
I don't care. Like, why are you telling me? Like, you know? So it was weird. It was like this weird love triangle that everybody was aware of.
So, but honestly, I think that's how it should be. I'm not saying there should be love triangles, but I'm saying like there was no lies. Like, where's the lie?
No, there were no lies. It was just more so of like eventually you gonna have to choose like.
But are you saying this along the way? Like, are you saying when she's coming in and she's like, Alicia said the most hilarious thing? Are you like, look, ultimately at the end of the day, like, I just want it to be you and me. So like, where is this Alicia thing going? Like, what is your plan here? Like, are you saying these things?
I didn't say that directly.
Because if not, then you're okay with it.
I said a lot of like offhand remarks. Like she might say something and then I'll kind of insert myself in it, you know? So she understood that I wanted to be like the sole person.
How do you know she understood that?
We had conversations. So
you did express this to her?
Yeah. But it wasn't in like a direct sense of, oh, cut that person off and it's just me. Because I felt like I want you to do it because you want to, not because I'm asking you or telling you to, because you will go back. Like, I want you to do it because it's in your heart.
Right.
That you just want to be with me. So I was trying to be patient. I was trying to be caring and kind, like all these good guy things, you know, and it sucked, you know.
So how long was this? Like, over the course of how long was this taking place that, you know, you were trying to be patient and...
In the timeline where we are right now?
Yeah.
We are in like... We started talking in this like
before Halloween, right?
Yeah,
before Halloween.
like mid-October. This is closer to like Christmas, whatever.
Got
so
it.
It still hasn't been like a lot of time.
Got it.
I don't have like that pull to be like, nah, putting the foot down, you know? So I'm like, okay, well, I still need to build like that respect to a certain degree, like that rapport to a certain degree. So I think it was something happened around Christmas time. Like we were together, right? And we were like, we just got something to eat or something like that. And she was like, can you drop me back off at home because so-and-so is coming by? And I'm like...
This is Alicia?
Yeah. And I'm like, what? You know? Like, I'm like, what did you just say?
Now it's kind of turned into disrespect.
Oh, yeah.
Because now it's like, okay, I'm just trying to spend time with you. And now, like, you're really just going to tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little disrespect. Again, I appreciate the honesty, but that's disrespectful.
Yeah, because it was kind of understood that we were going to spend time together that day. Right. And I kind of like adhered to like, okay, well, you might spend time with whatever her name is.
We've named her Alicia.
You might spend time with Alicia like on Friday. And it was weird because it was like, okay, well, Alicia got Friday, so that means I got Saturday. And then Sunday, is anybody scheduled? All right, well, let me go ahead and get Sunday, you know. So
wait, would she actually say this? So would you be like, are you free on this day and that day? She's like, no, I'm actually with Alicia Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So I am open Sunday free.
Sometimes it was like, she would be like, I'm like, what you doing this weekend? Well, I'm gonna be with Alicia on Friday night. And I'm like, what? You know, like my mind, I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? So I was very upset, right? But I try to keep my composure most of the time because I feel like anger it doesn't make you say or do things, but like the mood you are in, like you might do things that you normally wouldn't do or say.
Right.
So I just try to keep my composure, I just sat there for a couple minutes and I was like, okay, you know? But I was upset though. Like she had a very like concerned look on her face. Like she didn't know how I was going to respond to it.
There isn't just calmness and holding it in or anger.
Right.
There is a middle ground there, and you should have expressed something. Like you should have said, you know what? I feel like you could have said it just as calmly as this. You could have been like, you know what? I feel like that's very disrespectful because I'm trying to spend time with you. We agreed to spend today together. Right. And for you to tell me like right now in this moment to drop you back off, like, I feel like that's very disrespectful. Yeah. And I think like you said earlier that, you know, it hadn't been that much time and you felt like you didn't have enough clout to sort of say some of these things. But honestly, I don't think that there's like any like time limit on respect. Like there's no like, well, it's been, you know, 2-3 months now I've earned your respect. Like, no, the second you decided you wanted to spend time with me and be in my presence and be in my circle, like, yeah, I better have your respect at that point. So I'm going to tell you when something is disrespectful, and that's disrespectful as hell.
Wait, side note, I like how hard you're going for me right now. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying?
You should have. You got to say something.
Wait, when I took her back home, it was like I was very upset. It's a few minutes, so you know I gave her a hug, whatever. We kind of.
I wouldn't even given her a hug. I'd have been like, "All right, see that," but I could be petty. Yeah, I acknowledge that I could be petty, and if I don't say something, I mean, I would have said something, but if I didn't say something, I'd have been like, "All right, you're at home. Get out the car. Goodbye." Like. Well, I did. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. And by the way, lose my number. But goodbye.
I mean, that was moment number 2.
But I'm growing and I'm learning to resolve things in a mature fashion and not be petty like that. But it would take a lot for me not to just be like, you know what? Don't talk to me.
I'm saying that was moment number 2 when I should have just cut it off. And
there's nothing wrong with who she is. It's just it doesn't work for you, and that's okay too. But
I stuck around.
Yeah.
So it was like. Nobody was forcing me to.
Right.
Like, I really liked it. I was really into her. I thought she was smart. I thought she was beautiful. And I still do. Very intelligent. Like, I have nothing bad to say about her. It's just like the situation kind of sucked, you know? So when I dropped back off at home, it was kind of like, I told her straight up, I was like, she's never going to treat you as how I do. Like,
oh man, you gave her I'm the better choice.
Yes, I did.
What did she say?
She was kind of upset. Like, how can you say that and all this kind of stuff? I'm like, because I did. Like, what are you talking about? So it was like, because I knew it. Like, in my heart, I'm like, she does not treat you better than me. Like, you knew her before me. Like, that's it. Right? So outside of that, I'm giving you everything that you want. Right? That you, in your heart, that you want.
Not everything.
Well, probably not. I mean, I don't have...
There's some things you couldn't provide.
The female anatomy is something that I don't have, you know?
You can never provide that.
I cannot. So I'm like, that's it. That's all she can offer you. But I'm giving you everything else. Companionship. Like, we going places. Like, you know, all this type of stuff. So it's kind of like... That's
the thing, though. There's no... I wish there was a thing. I wish there was like a point system where... It would say, okay, as far as like being a great person, I'm there at a 10. Yeah. You see clearly she's at a 6. You see as far as like being a good friend, you see I'm at like a 9.5. I got a little room. You see she's at like a 3. Like there's no way to really measure these things. It just really comes down to like how somebody feels. Like it's the most subjective thing ever.
I think it's about like accepting somebody for like who they are. Like that's it. Like this is who she is. Is she perfect? No. But do I like it? Yes.
Were you willing to accept her fully for who she is? So clearly, at this point, she's a bisexual woman.
Right. And I didn't.
Is that not just okay with you, but is that something you could truly learn to love about her?
I mean, clearly, I would hope she wasn't inactive bisexual when she was with me, but the fact that like that's who she is, or like, that's what she did in the past, that wouldn't change how I felt. No,
I'm not talking about what she did in the past. I'm saying like if could you love who she is in this moment?
I think I did. That's what I'm saying. So
I mean,
like, okay, like,
yes and no.
Infatuated, maybe. So
no, I feel like you
tolerated it.
You tolerated it, hoping that you could somehow shift or change that part of her based on your amount of love and respect that you were putting into her. You thought, well, once she sees all that, there's no way she would want anything outside of me. And So in fact, you were trying to shift who she was in a way.
I agree with that. When you put it like that, I agree with it. Maybe I was trying to prove how good of a guy I was. It was right.
Would you have felt the same way that you're feeling now if this were another guy?
Oh, no.
Like, what would have happened if this were another guy? And she said, oh, by the way, like, you know, I hang out with Jim sometimes, and, you know, I'm seeing Jim this weekend. And could you drop me back off because...
Let's continue your story.
Oh, okay. All right. I got ahead of myself.
Let's fast forward a little bit to like around New Year's, right? So,
ooh, who do you spend New Year's with?
it was with me.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, no. That was the Saturday before. I think my brother was in town. His birthday is on New Year's, so I was with him. But the Saturday before, one of her friends had like a party, like a birthday party, whatever, and she asked me if I wanted to go. So I'm like, yeah, you know, like I'm just like, if I say no, you're gonna invite. What's her name? I can't.
Alicia.
I can't let that happen. So I have to go. You know. So at that point, it was kind of like I have to go. You know?
Now it's a competition.
A little bit, and I'll admit that. But again, I was a willful participant in this, so it's not. She wasn't making me do anything or misleading. So she was like, "Well, it's a guy that might be there that I've had relations with before," and I'm like. I mean, okay. I mean, that happens, you know? Mm-hmm. And she was like, it was just one time and like all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I mean, it's whatever. So we get there and I see the guy. He like 5'1". I'm like, what, this guy? You know, I'm like, this guy, he's like the prototypical like F-boy, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, no, I'm not. Like, he was hitting on like every girl there. Like everyone, like he tried to hit on all of them. I'm like, wow, like you, okay, like this guy, like you did something with this guy, and it made me kind of question like myself. You know, it's kind of like, wow, what kind of person am I? Like I see a type. So
you know what though, that I've had that where I've seen somebody that the person I'm with has dated before me, and then it makes me question them, and then it makes me question me. Like, is that what you're into? Because if that's what you're into, like I'm nothing like that. Wait, or am I like that? Wait, what is this? I'm not. What? Why are you into that? Yeah. So I get that.
Yourself,
right.
So she told Alicia where she was going and who she was going with. Right? And Alicia did not like that, right? So she was like, well, I'm going to pull up.
Oh, Alicia was coming to the party too?
Not to the party, but more so in like, after the party, let's kind of meet in secret kind of vibe.
But you all came together, like in the same car.
Right. And I don't know why, but she told me like, she didn't tell me everything like that, but she would tell me a lot of things. And I'm like, why are you telling me? But fast forwarding again to like February, we went to OT Tavern. It's this spot, they have like this thing on Thursdays, right? Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. And she got like really upset. Oh, like the smallest thing. I think it was, we were sitting in stools, right? And I put my foot on her footrest. Mm-hmm. And I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of a power move that guys do.
Is that a power move?
Yes, it is.
Really?
Yeah, because by me putting my foot on your stool, it's showing other guys in the room that she is with.
She's mine.
Yes, she's with me. You know? So.
But you don't have to do this stool thing. People just know that.
Yeah.
But you were feeling insecure because of the Alicia thing.
Kind of. At first, that's kind of how it started. But after a while, it was more comfortable.
Okay.
Like the seat wasn't that comfortable. And like stretching my leg out was just more comfortable. That's just it. Like that's honestly what it was. And she was like, you will never listen to me and all this kind of stuff. And she just went off. And I'm like, not in front of the guys.
This was the start of her trying to break things up.
That's what I thought.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
I feel like when men and women actually, when people start doing that, when people start like just getting mad at random little things, that's that they're starting to try to find a way out.
Yes, because I knew it wasn't about me. Like
right.
this is something else. Like this anger is from somewhere else. Like this is not about me, right? So she went on this big tirade and was so upset and so angry, and she just stormed out. And I'm like, whoa, my card is at the bar. I gotta get it first. So I had to go to the bar, like, cash out and everything, and then go outside. And my phone was on 1%.
Ugh.
And it died. So at this point, I'm thinking, nah, this is the last time. That's the last time I'm ever gonna see her, And I was still so into her. I was kind of upset about it, just a little bit. Like if it would have ended right there, I would have been fine after like a week maybe. Mm-hmm. But I would have been like, oh man, I should have, moved my foot, But I would have been fine.
It was never about your foot.
No, absolutely not. So I got in the car. I charged my phone enough for it to actually stay on. And she called and was like, hey, I'm at the 7-Eleven down the street. Like,
come get me.
Yeah, like, come talk. So we talked in that car for like 2 hours. And keep in mind, this is like maybe 2 in the morning. Mm-hmm. So we stayed out there till like 4 o'clock in the morning, just talking about everything. That's what we did. Like when it got to like that sort of boiling point, we just talked about like everything. And for that reason, like the honesty, we can kind of understand each other because we had like this connection that it was weird. That's the best way I can put it. It was weird. It was like we were just like, it was a bond.
Like above it all, you were still able to be honest with each other.
Right. And then like she still was into me that much and I was into her that much that we stayed connected.
Did you ever have a moment where you thought, what if I did just embrace this whole Alicia thing? What if the next time she said, I'm going to go hang out with Alicia, I just said, can I come to brunch with you guys too? I'd love to get to know Alicia.
I did. And it was like...
Did you express that to her?
Yeah.
What did she say?
She was... I don't know how she took it, honestly. It was like... I don't think she ever wanted it to like really happen for real. Because I was like, man, I'll talk to her. Like, we can have a whole conversation. We can hang out together. I mean, I don't care. Because I didn't want it to be any animosity, like on any side. Like, I don't have any animosity towards you. So I will hope that you don't have any towards me. Mm-hmm. It's more so the situation is a little bit different. It's a little odd. We both want the same person. We have the same goal in mind, But at the end of the day, like, we can be casual competitors, Like, it's not... like, that's not...
I mean, ultimately, though, would you have been okay with...
You mean, like, going forward? Like
going forward, if she would have said, you know what? I'm going to date you and Alicia, and that's just how it is, and that's how it's going to be. You're never going to have me to yourself. I want you, and I want her. Is that something you truly... could have lived with for the foreseeable future? If
that's all it was, probably. But I would have been like, just don't tell my mama. She might look at you a little bit differently, But yeah, if that's all it was.
All meaning what?
No, there's more to the story.
Okay.
But if that's all it was, I could have been okay with that, right? So fast forwarding back.
So then how did this all come to a head? Like
that night?
Just generally, like what ended up happening?
We had a long conversation about like kind of what we were to each other or like whatever you want to explain it as, like in that sense. It was just like a really long.
And what did you guys come to as like what you were to each other? Like, who did she say you were to her?
She never... The way she would always describe it would always leave wiggle room. So she would never outright say, like... She would say stuff like, I really, really care about you, and, like, all it is. But not like, you my boyfriend, like, you my man, anything like that. So that's how I took it. Mm-hmm. That's how I took it. I'm like, okay... so there were certain things that I did not expect her to do or say. Because I'm like, okay, well, I never said the opposite either. But in reality, what it was like I was her boyfriend. That's what I was.
No, well, you were not.
Let me take that back.
You were not her boyfriend.
Wait. In like when we were together, when we spent time together, like I was her boyfriend, but she was not my girlfriend. No. So it was like she expected me to do like all these boyfriend things, but she did not intend to do girlfriend things.
But you kept doing them, which is why she kept expecting them, because you kept doing them.
I was a willful participant. I had Stockholm syndrome. You know, I began to love the aggressor. You know, like you know. So take her home, and I noticed she was just sitting in the car. I'm like, well, she got out of my car and got in her car. I'm like, it's a little weird. I'm like, it's like
she didn't even go in the house first.
No.
But here's the thing: she didn't hide it.
She didn't.
If she were hiding it, she would have gone in the house first, waited till you pulled away, and then come back out.
But get this though. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, what is she doing? Like, right. So just as a man, very quickly I pieced together what was about to happen. So I'm like, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, I'm going to an after party. And I'm like, an after party from the bar and all your friends at Waffle House. So who is exactly going to be at this?
Yo, I kind of love this girl because she acts like a man.
Oh yes, she does. She learned the game. Look, she learned the game.
I love the honesty. I love the yes. I'm not hiding anything. I will sit in my car. I will let you know where I'm going. Yeah. Can we get her on this show?
I thought about it. I thought about just calling her. Her story would be interesting too. She probably got good stories. she probably got some great stories, right? But she's like, I'm going to an after party, right? And I'm like, an after party? I just kind of like, okay, whatever. So I go home, and I'm not even gonna lie, because I knew what she was finna do. I did. I knew what she was finna do. So I hit somebody else up. So at that point, I'm like...
But you didn't even really want to do that, did you? You just did it to kind of like be petty, but it wasn't even in your heart, really.
No.
I could tell.
It's not... If I had to choose, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know? But I'm like, I'm not finna let somebody just play me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm finna play the game.
But at that point, it was too late.
At that point, I was basically...
It was too late.
An electric keyboard, like, with the instructions. Like, I was just... You know, like, just follow the keys. Just follow the keys, and you'll be able to play it. Just follow the keys. Like, I was instructions included, you know, so don't even worry about it. But the next day, she texted me that morning and was like, you want to go to church? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I want to go to church. I go to church, right? So, I did want to go to church.
And you didn't say, like, so, like, where did you end up going last night? Who were you hanging? Like, there was no questions. It was just like...
After church.
Let me get my suit on. I'll see you at church. Okay.
After church. I mean, I didn't want to go into the house of the Lord with that animosity in my heart. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, after church, like later that day, we did have a conversation. I'm like, so you went to the after party last night? You know what I'm saying? And then eventually the truth came out. You know, that she actually went to the other guy's house, right? And she was like, well, you know, I just wanted to go watch TV at 4 in the morning. What are y'all watching?
The best infomercials are on at 4 a.m. The best ones.
Y'all are not going to watch no ShamWow in like the...
So did you ask her what happened?
Yeah.
And what did she say? Just they watched TV?
No. You know.
That they had sex?
Yes, exactly what I thought.
I'm sorry. I just love her honesty.
Look,
I love her honesty. She does not lie.
No, after I got to know like some of the guys in her life, like, you know, like actual guy friends, like non-sexual guy friends, I was like, I can see why you act the way you act. That's not in a bad way. Like, as a guy, like when you see another guy do stuff like that, it's just normal, right? Mm-hmm. But as a man, you don't expect the roles to like women say, oh, gender roles. I gotta get rid of gender roles. Like, don't take mine. Like, don't.
She said she was an intersectional feminist.
Yeah, she wanted gender equality. I'm like, well, don't take my role. Like, make up one or something. You know?
I'm not. I gotta say,
You was
I'm
on
not.
the side at first. Now you switch.
No, I'm not. I'm not taking her side. I'm not. I'm just not mad at it because my number one thing in any relationship, friendship, partnership, anything that I have is I have to feel like everything is on the table.
It was.
If at any point I feel like something is being hidden or there's like a lie, like I go nuts. But if everything is on the table, the thing that gives me the opportunity to do is choose.
Yes.
Because there's no lie, so you're not hiding anything. Like, it's all on the table. And so now I get to be like, okay, I'm looking at everything on the table. I choose it or I don't.
But to me, the fact that she lied about it at first said a lot to me. Because I'm like, okay, you care about how I feel about this. Like, you probably should have did that. Right? And then you still want to be like next to me though. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you shouldn't have did that. But at the same time, there were a lot of things that happened. I had a friend that was a female. She had a birthday party, right? And we went to said birthday party, and she walked out that house in gotta be one of her top 2 dresses. Gotta be. Because she walked out looking like, like that's all I can say. And then, like, we get there, and then she twerked like her life was on the line. And I'm like,
I'm twerking for my life.
Yes. And I'm like, okay, you feel like she is competition to you from the way that you acting. Because she was like really petty. Like, when I told her about it, she was like, what's her name? Like, how y'all know each other? Like, y'all used to date? Y'all had sex? She know your mama? I'm like, where is this coming from? You
kind of like that she reacted like that.
I loved it. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I loved it because I'm like, see, I know you care. You know what I'm saying? So it was like you kind of had to trick her into showing certain emotions.
But that's so many games.
Not on my part. I was honestly just asking, do you want to go to this birthday party? That's it.
No, but I'm just saying, like, to get to somebody's true feelings and get them to show emotion towards you, like, it shouldn't take all that. Like, so how did it end? How did the dynamics end up changing? What was like the straw?
The straw. Well, this whole time, like, my friends, like my female friends especially, would tell me the whole time, like, what are you doing? Like, you deserve like way better than this. Like, the way she's treating you, like, what's wrong with you? You know? And I'm just the whole time, I'm like, yeah, you're all right. It was like the opposite of like, like, no, that's what the role, like, the woman was play. Well, he's such a good guy. And I just, I see the bright side in him. Like, no, Tyrone was just with me last night. Like, that's, like, that's how it was supposed to be, like, women, But we went out. We went to a birthday party, like a pool party. And she was in school at this time, getting her master's degree. So this was like her school friends. And it was weird though, like, the whole time we were there, like, everybody was just saying, oh, you're such a good guy. Karen says so many great things about you. You better treat her right. And I'm like,
I better treat her right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I mean, I do, but I don't think y'all know her, But, it was cool. It was a good vibe. Everything was chill. And then we were leaving there at like 1:20. Everything in Dallas, like, the bars have closed at like 2. And she said, well, my friends are at this bar. We should go to it. And I'm thinking to myself, it's 1:20. We like 15 minutes away. So by the time we get there, they're going to be about to close. I don't see the point. Keep in mind, I am old. But
How old is she, by the way?
26.
Okay. So a little younger, but not too much.
Yeah,
okay.
a little younger. So we go to the spot anyways, and it was kind of crowded. So I let her out in front of the spot. Probably shouldn't have again, right? And keep in mind, it's a pool party. So I'm wearing like pool party stuff. I'm not dressed to go into a bar.
Right.
So I found a place to park. It was like 145, 150. So I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm just going to stay here. And then you just text me when you're ready to leave because you're only going to be in there for like 10 minutes, right? And I'm not going to pay for parking for 10 minutes. So like 2 o'clock come by. Didn't hear from him. 2:05 come by. Didn't hear from her. Now it's like 2:10. I'm like, what is going on, right? So I walked around there, and it was like her and two of her friends, and they were with these guys, right? And I'm like, what? I didn't know that's what we was, coming to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I did, I wouldn't have came here on purpose, But I kind of walked by her and like kind of brushed her on the arm. Cause like we're in Alabama, if let's say you are in conversation with somebody else, right? And I come kind of just tap you on the arm, just kind of showing you that I'm right there. People generally would turn around and say, hey, just give me 1 second. I'm trying to finish this conversation. Whatever, something polite, because I kind of approached you in a polite. I didn't interrupt your conversation.
Right.
But she kind of like barely turned around and barely looked at me.
She was like, I don't know who this guy is approaching me.
That's how it felt. And I'm like, oh, really? So at that point, I was getting a little ticked off, So it just kept going on. And then I noticed that the dude was taking her number. No, or she was taking her number. It's like 1 or 2. And I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? So once again, I like tapped her on the arm. I'm like, what are you doing? And at that point, it was weird. It was like, to paint a picture, it was her, then the guy was standing in front of her. 2 of her friends were standing kind of adjacent to her left, right? And I was to her right. I was the only one to her right. So she would look everywhere.
But to her right.
But to the right. And I'm like, so you just don't see me. Is that what it is? Like, you don't hear me? Like,
she was not acknowledging you, like at all.
No, not at all. And when the dude walked off, she tried to get upset. Like, I don't know why you be doing this. Like,
what?
Whatever. And,
okay, screw.
But keep in mind, we don't have any titles. We don't have any titles.
I don't care about the titles at this point. It's just straight up respect. So if that is a girlfriend of mine, right, or a boy that is a friend, or a coworker, or anybody that I would be in a situation like that with, to not acknowledge me and to get upset because I want to be acknowledged, that's not a title situation. If you're my coworker, if you took my order once at the KFC, whatever, like you don't get to act like that.
Now keep in mind, the party we just left, everybody's saying, she said so many great things about you. Like, oh, this is him, And I'm like, now the vibe is completely different. Like, do you see how confusing this can be?
I don't see how confusing it is because this isn't new. It's not the first time.
You're right.
Like that situation that you're talking about where she's ignoring you, right, and like, dude, and she like that's not the first time. So like, right, it's not new. So you can't really be that surprised. Like she was yo-yoing you.
This was like maybe moment number 7 or 8 when I should have left,
In that moment, why are you still even there?
I think I have a problem like quitting on people because, well, not even quitting. Like sometimes some stuff ends and you guys gotta let it end, right? But I think I don't want people to quit on me, so I tend to give people maybe too many chances, right?
But if you were doing some bullshit, people should quit on you.
True. That's true. And
in all realness, like there's been times in life where like I've done things where I'm like, I shouldn't have done that and I know better. And like, I don't even get mad when I know better. Where I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't even be mad if this person did X, Y, and Z because I shouldn't have acted like that. And so you should have left. Like, I mean, you should have been left.
I should have.
But that particular night, like, why? Like, what was the point? Like, you're literally out by yourself, without her interacting with you. So, like, what was even the point of staying there?
It was a rather peculiar situation in a sense that, once again, I put myself.
But what were you feeling to make you stay? Like, in your mind, you're thinking, should I stay or should I go? What made you stay?
I think it was that expectation or like that potential factor again, where it's like, I'm expecting you to grow out of this. But as time goes on, it just gets worse. So
People don't grow out of things when there's people that are around them. No. And essentially, like, you weren't encouraging her to grow out of it by being around.
Yeah, it's kind of like if I'm an alcoholic and you accept me for being an alcoholic.
Exactly.
Why would I change?
Exactly.
You know, so in that situation, like that night, when we finally did leave, she didn't say anything on the way back home. Like, at all. It was like maybe a 25-minute ride, not one word. I tried to say something. I tried to talk, right? And she said nothing. So I dropped her off, and I'm like, you know, are you upset? She did nothing. She said nothing. So at that point, I'm like, okay, if this is how you want it to be, that's what it is. So I didn't say nothing for like the next few days. You know, granted, she would do things like that when she was upset to show that she was like, she wouldn't talk to me for a few days. So I'm like, since that's how you communicate, then you must know how to do that. That's what I did. I didn't talk to her for like maybe 2 weeks. And it was weird though, because I kind of got to know some of her like guy friends who I would consider friends now. Mm. So I would see them and they would be like, oh yeah, I mean, she was trying to brag about, I ain't talked to him all week. But meanwhile, me and him already talked. Like, he already know what's up, you know? So the joke was, you know, he already knew what was happening, you know? So time went by. And I kind of committed to doing this event with her, like this eat, drink, argue. Kind of a plug. Eat, drink, eat, drink, argue on Facebook, you know? And we had like this event where it was like, everybody come in and you eat and drink and you talk about relationship things.
Oh, that sounds like a fun event.
It actually was. The next one is coming up pretty soon, so stay tuned for it. But so I was like, okay. At that point, this was maybe 2 or 3 weeks later. Haven't really communicated. I kind of started talking to somebody else, you know, and I was fine with that. Like, you know, I liked who I was talking to. I felt like she treated me the way that I wanted to be treated, you know, or that I was very receptive to, I guess. And I didn't have to like prove myself to her like over and over and over again. So I see her at the little meeting for the brunch planning, and we were leaving. She was like, so what you been up to? And I was like, stuff. Like, what kind of stuff? All sorts of stuff, you know? So it was weird. Like, the vibe was weird because I just wasn't.
Were you over it? Are you over it?
Now, yeah.
Is there any chance if she were to come at you and say, hey, I've been thinking and, you know, I want to give this another shot and see if things could work?
I don't think so. I would have to see major change. Like, I heard somebody say, like, what was it? Your actions are speaking so loud, I can barely hear what you're saying, right? So I was like, what you do is so much louder than what you're saying. So you're saying that it's different, but I just don't see it. And we met at Starbucks again after that meeting, and she was like, it was weird.
She called that meeting or you?
She did. And we talked about the brunch for like 10 minutes. And she was like, so you don't want to talk about anything else? I'm like, no. And she was like, nothing else? So she went back to that night and was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't understand, or you should have said something. Or I'm like, I did. Like, what do you mean? So she was like
trying to yo-yo you back in.
Yes. I'm not going to lie, she kind of did. Like, she was very apologetic at that time. Like, and it was sincere, I guess. So it was like anytime she thought I was about to leave for good, oh, she would just.
She was sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
What did you learn from that whole experience with her?
Accept people for who they are, if that's what you truly want. Like, and I say that because I accepted her for who she was, but that's not exactly what I wanted. I thought she would become something else, right? So the idea of accepting somebody for who they are is not just in the beginning, it's in the middle and it's towards the end too. You know, well, if they're, you know, hopefully there's not an end, you know, but, and to me, if I truly accepted her for who she was, I wouldn't have complained about anything she was doing, but I did because I expected her to be something else. So my expectations kind of, I think it was a culmination of my expectations and her actions. They didn't really add up. So it wasn't.
And they never had.
No, it wasn't one person's fault. Like, it wasn't like her fault or wasn't my fault. It was more so the situation. Like, as individuals, me and her can sit in the same room and have a good time together and enjoy one another, and we'll have a good time. Like, we still can do that, like, to this day, right? But the idea of it being like something romantic, though, I don't think that would happen.
Whew, I'm glad you're over it. So let me ask you this. What did you learn about yourself in this process? And what did you change moving forward because of it?
I would say just because you can bend a certain way, or just because you might be like a malleable person, like able to move in so many different forms, you don't have to be that, right? Mm-hmm. So just because you can take certain things, you don't have to take them. Yep. Like, if my pain threshold is, I can break my arm and feel fine. Don't go break your arm.
Yep.
You know, like, just don't do it. Don't do it, because now you got to wait for it to heal, and like, it's so many other things.
Here's the thing that I've learned about you, Travis. Okay, I could see this.
Tell me.
You're a really nice person, right? You're just at your core, in your heart, you're a nice person, and you want to do nice things for people, and you try not to cause trouble where it is not necessary to cause it. And if it can be avoided, you'll avoid it.
True.
Okay. That's what I get from you. Even in the times where most people would have gotten angry about something, you thought, let me not go to a place of anger, because if I go to a place of anger, it could potentially cloud things, and things may come out in a way that I don't want them to come out, and just cause all sorts of things that I didn't want to happen. So you then you kind of bury that, or like kind of swallow it for the moment, for the greater good of that moment. And I appreciate and admire that, because some people cannot control their emotions. They're on the opposite spectrum, where they're just like, everything is like, and they just go crazy whenever they feel a certain way, and they just can't handle it. And it's just like nuts, right?
Chaos.
But there is a middle ground between that. There's not just like, chaos, it's all crazy, I can't control my emotions. And like, oh, well, let me just swallow that, bury it, and forget it. Like, I think there was a lot of instances throughout the whole situation where you should have expressed how you were feeling. You didn't have to get angry, but you should have expressed the fact that, you know what, you're disrespecting me and I deserve respect. So like, I'm not going to take that. If that's who you are and you choose to disrespect me, I'm not going to be around to watch that, right? It's a form of self-respect to not put up with somebody else's disrespect.
I agree.
And the second you show that you lack that respect for yourself, it becomes okay for everybody else to then disrespect you.
That's true.
And so she saw that and she fed off of that. And for every time that you were thinking, well, I'm going to give her a little bit more time to grow, or to come into her own, or to understand me, or to respect me. For her, all she was seeing was, oh, well, I could just act however I want because he's still here. Just like we said with the alcoholic thing, like, people don't really, like, addicts don't really change until they've lost everything. Right. If you are an addict and you still have your house and your car and your job and your family and everything in your life is just the same, why would you change it?
True.
It really takes losing something for people to understand the gravity of how they're acting sometimes and what they're doing. And like, she never saw the gravity of it because you were just always there. So why would I stop any of these behaviors? Because I still have everything I want.
Right. And it was weird. Like, after everything was done, we had like, we met one time after that. Well, I've seen her a few times after that, but when I had to fish it out, really, like, what happened with that guy, because she wasn't going to say it, I had to fish it out. She was very concerned that I was going to leave, like, forever. Like, don't want to be your friend no more, and like all this kind of stuff. And I was like, the situation just sucked. It just didn't work. But that doesn't change how I feel about you as a person. Like, you are a good person, but you could probably grow into being a better spouse, I guess, or like partner. But just as an individual, you're a good person, so I'm not gonna like slander you or anything like that. But it's parts of you that you are 26, but the way you act in like relationships like 21. You know?
And it doesn't, none of this takes away from her being a good person,
No.
but people fit into different roles in our lives. And just because you're a good person, it doesn't make you the person for me, for my partner, for my lifetime. Like, you know, like people are in different categories. Like, I might have a friend that I'm like, you're my walk around the lake friend. Like, I'm not going to share my deepest, darkest secrets with you and get life advice from you. But like, I have fun just walking around the lake with you. And that's our whole relationship, is we walk around the lake together. Like, you know, I might have a friend where I'm like, yo, you're my ride or die and you literally know everything about me. But like, I can't stand working out with you or doing certain things with you. So it's like, it doesn't, just because somebody is a good person, it doesn't mean they are our end all be all. There are a lot of good people and they serve their purpose, and their purpose is different.
It took me a long time to get that, but I did. And then after that, that's exactly how it's been. Like, we'll still chit chat every now and then. I might see her every now and then, but.
Well, I'd like to chat with Karen. So if you'd like to ask her if she would like to come on the podcast. And,
she would. I know she would.
And I would just love to, I'll have her tell her own story. So what is next for you? What are you working on?
As far as?
Just life or work or anything you want to share, you want people to know?
Well, I am a graphic designer, probably the best in town, if not the universe. But so I'm working on a few projects with that. I do like logos, websites, brand material. I'm also working on an apparel shop. So I kind of want to cater to like the black nerdy kind of people, because it's like, there's not really a place to go. So it's either like very black or very nerdy, but it's never
the blurs.
Yes, it's never the same, you know? So it's like, I either have to go to like Hot Topic, or I have to go to like some black online boutique, you know, to buy stuff. So it's like, why can't that space be, you know, produced by somebody?
I mean, what do blurs wear?
Like nerdy stuff, you know? I mean, like, maybe like anime, like superhero kind of things, or Star Wars, or like maybe some original black characters.
Okay.
Just
I like your
things.
Black Panther shirt,
See?
by the way, Wakanda Forever.
I mean, I'm not just trying to sell. This is what I am.
Okay.
You
I
know
like
what
it.
I'm saying?
All right. Wakanda Forever.
Yes.
So where can people reach you?
You can reach me on Instagram at Mansa, MANSA _Trey, TRAY. You can also reach my graphic design page at Mansa Graphics. And you can also reach my contemporary art at Art by Trey, and that's all on Instagram. Or you can visit my website, www.mansadesign.com.
You are all over. Thank you so much. That was a hell of a story. Thank you for sharing that. I am glad that you came through on the other side and you were able to see it for what it was. And I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to hearing from Karen. Hopefully we'll see. Anyway, thank you guys for listening tonight. And please reach out to me. Let me know what you think of tonight's show. You can reach me at Tanisha Wood on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And until next time, wish me love. Hello again, my lovely listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of DRL. If you like the show, be sure to go on iTunes and leave a rating and also write a review. And don't forget to share with your friends and tell them all about DRL. Thank you so much for supporting.